What's up, guys? It's Dynasty from the Mountaintops. I'm Mickey, along with Jeremy. Jimmy's going to join us shortly. So since I don't have Jimmy here to bug me about him being first, how are you today, Jeremy?
I feel honored. I feel honored only because I win by default, but I'll take it. It's a win. Yay!
There you
I
go.
feel good. I feel good. Things are good. We got the Super Bowl coming. Most bittersweet weekend of the year. Love me some football. Love me the Super Bowl. Love me a championship. But it's a sign of no more football for 5 months. So, but other than that, yeah, overall doing good. How about yourself, Nick?
Hey, unless you like the UFL, right? So yeah, no
touche.
football for 5 months. I'm doing good, man. We were kind of talking off air. We got a busy weekend ahead of us, personally. So, just excited to be able to get this podcast in and be able to talk about some football before the Super Bowl that no one wanted to see. It should be fun, and we'll talk about that shortly. So, first off, though, a little bit of news, especially in fantasy. But first off, we're going to talk about a guy who is asking to be traded out of Cleveland. That has nothing to do with fantasy, but it's really important for the Steelers, so I want to talk about it anyway. Myles Garrett, who some people say, most Steeler fans will not, that he is the best defensive player in football. Some people will say that. I will not, but some people will. If he's not number one, he's number 2 or 3 for sure. So big time deal there. Jeremy, what's your take on this? He's a top 5 pick draft wise. He's been insane for 4 or 5 years now. Like, it shocked me.
To be honest with you, I'm actually not too surprised. I don't know if it was maybe the last game of the season that I watched with them, but they did interview him. Either it was the last game of the season or the locker room clean out, but he did mention how he wanted to retire a Brown if they were going to commit to him long-term gains in regards to the team, not necessarily him. He wanted to win now, and if the Browns would not commit to a winning now method, he wanted it out. And then this tells me that some behind-the-scenes doors chats led to the Browns being realistic to him, saying, "Yo, we don't even know what's going on with quarterback next year. We can't provide you what you want." So, I mean, I don't want to necessarily say that I put money on this happening, but it seems to be the norm nowadays when we have these veterans on a team that seems to be a sinking ship or a struggling ship. They're there for the ring, and that's what he's pursuing. So, Godspeed.
Yeah, like I said, I was shocked because I didn't hear of any of this behind the scenes stuff, and he's been the catalyst for that team. It hasn't been the offense on this team; it's been the defense for most of it, because of who they've had at quarterback. Baker Mayfield was not the Baker Mayfield down in Tampa Bay, in Cleveland. He just wasn't. He was good. He wasn't the Baker Mayfield we see now. He just wasn't old enough yet.
Yeah, Browns are impatient.
Yeah, the Browns are extremely impatient. And then now they're too patient, which is that they still are thinking about Deshaun Watson. Hopefully that's not the case for the Browns fans. As a Steeler fan, keep playing Deshaun Watson. Sounds great to me. But we'll talk about what we think the Browns might be doing here in the future too. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because, like I said, if he's not the best player on defense on your list, he's not far from 2.
No, I agree, and I guess I mean, obviously born and raised Pittsburgh, but like the dynasty format and football in general, the love that it's the professional sport that I have, like it's hard for me to pick a team, so I focus a lot on the players and a lot of like a blanket aspect. I'm an NFL fan. I'm not necessarily a Steeler fan or Bengals fan or whoever, but on that note, like I'm a big fan of when this happens. If there's a situation where these two parties are going to be civil, and the Browns are going to let this dude go do his thing, and they're going to get some pieces for him. More props to him. I like it when we have players with this type of talent who have been on a team that have not won anything to go get himself a ring. There's some players right now in the league that I would hate to see retire without one, and he's one because I mean the talent is there, and considering what he's done and put up with in Cleveland, he deserves to have a few winning seasons here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I've never played in the IVP league, so it could revert to a fantasy conversation as well. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about the IDP, individual defensive player leagues, to be able to discuss that. Now, I know Jimmy has, so he might have be able to talk a little bit more on that when he shows up, if we have time.
When Myles Garrett is not in our division, I'll ask your opinion. I'll ask your opinion this time next year on Myles Garrett when he's not in the AFC North, and then we'll go from there.
He's the second or third best defense player in the league.
Okay, there we go. All right.
Cool. I mean, I am 100% biased, but when TJ Watt's on the field healthy, he's the best player. He's the best defensive player. And I'll say I'm 100% biased. I have no problem admitting it. I've been grew up a Steeler fan, but I also put Max Crosby in that same conversation.
That's fair. That's a pretty solid top three. There's
nobody helping him.
Yes, that's a solid top three.
So, and I'm sure I'm missing a few other guys
here and
there, but those are the three big names that I always think of when I think of top defensive players in the league. So, moving over to the offensive side of the ball, not to be outdone, a day later, the Rams tell Cooper Kupp that, hey, you're gone.
This one surprised me more than Myles Garrett. I guess it's because, like I said, I was able to catch some postseason discussions on him and what his future was. But nevertheless, the Kupp one surprised me a little bit. Like I could have seen Kupp leaving if Stafford decided to retire. But the fact that it's not Kupp asking for a trade, but this is the Rams saying, yo, hey, we're going to help you and your family and everyone else, but we're going to kind of kick you out. And it's going to be kind of quick. That one is that's the approach is what surprised me the most on this one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the first thing I thought of was not even fantasy related, even though I have him on multiple different teams. I try to draft him almost every year. He's one of my favorite players and has been for a while. Just because white dude who can play.
Dude can play, man.
Your position, you don't see
dude can play.
And he also had a historic season in 2021.
Yes,
but the first thing I thought of, again, I'm biased. I thought, who else would be better than him to play alongside Pickens? Now, that has nothing to do with fantasy. That would just be a lot of fun for the Steelers to have. But we'll see if that actually happens or not. Fantasy-wise, I think this is a blessing in disguise. Because I don't think Cooper Kupp is done. I know he's, 31, I believe.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's done. I think he has a little bit left in the tank. Not a lot, but enough that 1 or 2 more years are going to be able to be top 12, top 15 wide receiver if he goes to the right situation. So that's the key. Everything was focused around Puka Nacua, which, for a good reason, he has played very well when healthy. And also, Kyren Williams. That's who's moving forward, basically. So Cooper Kupp, last playoff run, if you had him on your team in the playoffs, I apologize for him because it was so bad. I think he had 3 points per game in the playoffs.
Something like that, yeah.
Insanely bad for a guy who's been one of the best wide receivers in football for 3 years. So I can't wait to find out where he's going on free agency. I have a feeling he's going to be one of the quicker names picked up. But we'll see. I know it's not free agency, but it's kind of when the trades start as well, I think. So we'll see what happens there. And we'll be able to talk a little bit more about this fantasy-wise once we find out where he's at and how that's going to matter or how that affects his game.
Excellent point.
So just wanted to talk about a couple big names who were Trump in the Super Bowl for a few days there. But obviously the Super Bowl is the big thing of the week coming on Sunday. So we're going to talk about that first. Me and Jeremy are going to talk about some of our predictions, some of our thoughts on the game. And then we'll have a player profile break down Isiah Pacheco, which is going to be a lot of fun, I have a feeling. And then we're going to do a little NFL mock draft fantasy talk. Is how I'm kind of explaining that one. So we'll talk about that. But first off, there's nothing bigger than Sunday, which is the Super Bowl. And whether you like it or not, the 2 best teams in the league did make it to the Super Bowl. You can say with refs' help or not, but going for a three-peat, and then the Eagles have probably been the second best team in the entire NFL for the last 4 to 5 years. So making the Super Bowl 2 out of the last 3. So it should be a great game. Should be fun to watch. I know 2 years ago it was a great game to watch. So good that that's kind of where the referee thing started. That the refs were helping the Chiefs or whatever. I don't know if that's true. I like to say it is because I don't like the Chiefs. But regardless, so how do you feel about the whole ref thing?
I don't want. Here's the deal. It's gotten so big now that the refs are absolutely screwed on Sunday. Because like it's either going to be throw the flag and hear about all the things you've been hearing for the past months, or you don't throw a flag, and then you're going to have Chiefs Kingdom all up in uproar saying is a reverse conspiracy theory, or the NFL was so scared to throw a flag because everyone complained about the flags. They didn't throw a flag at the right time or whatever. So I can the ref thing's going to be a sticky situation regardless how it unfolds. But for overall the Super Bowl,
you're right.
Yeah, it's impossible. But overall, the Super Bowl, I'm excited. I didn't want the Chiefs in. I'm not necessarily anti-Chiefs or anti-Taylor Swift or Kelsey or anything. I'm just, again, I'm a fan of the sport itself, and I've seen this movie before. I just like to have fresh teams in there. It's not necessarily against the Chiefs or Mahomes' rings. I mean, the realization is Mahomes is going to pass Brady. It's just a matter of when. So like that's going to happen. But like,
hot take right there, sir.
Yeah, like, but I wanted fresh teams, but because of that, like, let's go Eagles, because we'll go back to playing on to what I was saying about Garrett. You know, this might be Barkley's only shot, so let's get Barkley a ring. Let's solidify that, because again, everybody on the Chiefs already got a few, so let's get some Eagles rings.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to see D-Hop get a ring. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I agree.
Being
I
a
agree.
Nuke fan
I'm gonna
since his rookie year. But I'm such a big Jalen Hurts fan. I like Saquon Barkley, even though he came from Penn State. I've always liked A.J. Brown. I love Devontae Smith. Like, I've been a Slay fan for many years before people even knew who Slay was in Detroit. Like, I love this team in the Eagles. I know
I'm a big
Pittsburgh,
fan.
and I shouldn't say that, but I've kind of always liked the Eagles, even when Andy Reid was the coach with Donovan McNabb. I am an Eagles fan. I love what they do. With
this. The thing about the Eagles is unlike the Chiefs, like there's not really any players you can say bad things about. Like I'm not necessarily saying that the Chiefs full of criminals, but like there's not one bad player on the Eagles. Nobody hates a specific Eagle. Like even you, as diehard and bleeding as Pitt you are, you're like go Barkley, even though there's some Penn State connection. Like there's like I just think the Eagles, the big hot button going into it was the Eagles fan base, and the big hot button going into this is the Chiefs team. So I think that is right there is what's separating it, where individuals would rather see a fan base be successful and play off that franchise than have a franchise be a dominant workhorse that it's been in the past 2 years already.
So I think of the Chiefs. You obviously think of Mahomes, Kelsey, Chris Jones, and on the defense, and then that's about it, right? Like, and then just these pieces. You think about the Eagles, and they talk about the offensive line. They talk about the defensive line. They talk about the secondary. They talk about the rookies who are playing in the secondary. Then they talk about the wide receivers, the running back, the quarterback. Like, everybody matters on that team.
It's crazy.
Right? Like, the difference in that is so cool. And being a team sport, I just think the Philadelphia Eagles have the best team in the league, to be honest with you. I thought that all year. Well, them and the Lions. I won't lie there. And as far as the negativity towards the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl, I'm a Josh Allen fan. At some point, he's going to win one. I was just hoping it was this year because of how he played earlier in the year.
Is it eerily similar to Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, right?
Or maybe.
Like, not only their skill sets, like, between the two, but, like, this Josh Allen, man, just can't clear the Brady hurdle, basically. It reminds me so much of the early 2000s and the mid 2000s Brady Ben rivalry, and I feel for the Bills fans.
Yeah, I mean, you could throw Peyton Manning in there with Lamar Jackson too, and then they have Joe Burrow in this league. Like, there are so many good quarterbacks in the AFC.
AFC is nasty, man.
And Mahomes just has a stranglehold on it.
That's
and I don't even consider him one of the top three in the AFC.
And that's why, like, the football fans
pure football
and, like, respects the Chiefs, because it's like we sit here every year and talk about how dominant the AFC is, and yet every year they're here.
Yeah,
3 straight AFC championship games. All these quarterbacks, they're dominant. 3 straight, man. Like, can't beat that.
7 straight AFC championship games.
Yeah, thank you.
3 straight Super Bowls. That's insane.
Right, thank you. That's insane numbers. Like,
ever since he's been a starter.
And, like, were there some questionable calls for the referees? Yeah, but, like, is it like, I mean, they can't play a role every single game, man. It's a team that is, they got a chip on their shoulder. I know everyone's tired of hearing the underdogs or everything like that. They're not necessarily the underdogs, but they are pissed because now everyone is wiping their butts with everything they've done the past 3 years with this ref conspiracy, and they're going to come out swinging, man. It's going to be a good game Sunday.
Yeah, no, it definitely, I think it's going to be a really good game Sunday. But I'm hoping that there's not the horrible questionable call.
And, man, it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be ugly.
So, and I think the reason that everyone's getting on the refs, and I kind of talked about this before, I believe. And again, this isn't really fantasy; it's just the Super Bowl week, so we're going to talk about it. So I apologize if we are going to talk about fantasy shortly, I promise. But Mahomes has been able to manipulate the sideline so well that those late hits, they are late hits. It's just, what are they supposed to do? You see both sides of it, unfortunately. And then another thing, and I was watching Pat McAfee, which I love, and Andy Reid was on, and they were joking about the refs. And Bill Belichick said this as well. They're one of the least penalized teams in the league because they don't make mistakes on their own. The other teams do, which I respect. I respect the team who can play clean. And that's what they do. And that's why it looks so bad that other teams have so many more flags than they do. Is one, the sideline run that Mahomes has perfected, that other people have started to use as well. And Russell kind of started it from what I can remember, where he ran to the sideline and then ran as far as he could down the sideline until someone got close to him and then skipped out. He's the first one that I can remember seeing it.
That's a good call. I remember that. That's a good call.
But Mahomes has perfected that so well that he could have 15 yards in front of him, straight down the middle, and he's still going to go diagonal or even left or right, whatever's closer sideline, and then take that sideline down the line a little bit. And I've seen him where defensive players pull up because he's about to go out, and then he pulls back in because they stop.
It also is the GOAT status. Like, I mean, just think about yourself in real life as a Steeler fan. How many times have you thrown on Madden and obliterated either another team's quarterback or another team's running back, or blew up a team 68-0 because you were angry mad and threw a game in Madden? That's exactly what these people are doing in real life. Like, Mahomes is the GOAT. Like, you're so tired of hearing about this. So, like, if you have an opportunity to just lay a finger on him, you're not gonna tap him on the shoulder, man. You're gonna do what you can. It's a matter of competition. It's a matter of, like, seeing red and raging out, and it's gonna happen, man. It's when he's on the pedestal that he has built, not the ref stuff aside. Like, when he's on the pedestal that he has built, you're gonna want to hit that a little harder to knock him off.
Absolutely. And that kind of brings me into the first question, which is absolutely perfect, which is, who is your X factor? Mine is Jalen Carter. Because that dude, if he gets a hold of Mahomes might think twice about running.
Yeah, that's very good thought. And I thought he was one of the steals of that draft. I think a lot of the personal
because
life,
of the questionable things that happened prior.
Yeah, the personal life and the car accident and stuff, man. But, like, dude's a stud. If that car accident thing wouldn't have happened, he would have been first overall. Like, that draft would have been completely different in that top 15, 20. So, yeah, I fully support that. He's a beast.
So I'm curious who you think the X factor is going to be for both teams. I gave you my Eagles. How about you?
I'm liking offensive versus defensive. I like Nick Bolton on the Chiefs, and I'm going to go the easy way out here. I'm going to go Barkley and the Eagles, man. You look at the
easy way out right there.
Yeah, Sorry, like it's the easy answer. Like it's 9 times out of 10, it's the easy answer. It's what carried you here. It's the horse you rode in on. Every single game that he's excelled in, the Eagles have not looked behind him twice. Like it's literally been that missing piece of what they've been needing. You could argue the missing piece of what cost them a ring 2 years ago. And this isn't some fill-in running back. Like this is Saquon freaking Barkley. Like this is not some run of the mill. Oh, Jalen Warren's getting hot. Oh, look out! Watch out for Jalen Warren. No, this is Barkley who's arguably one of the best running backs in this generation and who's presently having his best year possible. So I think it's like a no-brainer. I think the Eagles are going to build this around this, and unfortunately, the Chiefs are going to build their defense around this. I think it's going to be stop the run and force Jalen Hurts to do what he has to do and relying on the outside.
Absolutely. I love the X Factor being the best player on the field. That's funny.
I made it.
Oh, there's Jim. Hi. We haven't gotten very far. We're still talking about the Super Bowl, but we do need to pivot. So real quick, I do have a couple questions. So what's your prediction? Jeremy, what's your prediction for the Super Bowl? Real quick.
I'm gonna go 35-28 Eagles.
All right, I like it. Jim, you got one?
Oh, goodness. 31-28 Eagles.
Oh, and a close one. I think it's going to be 38-28 Eagles as well.
Well, three-way sweep here. You know it's going to happen.
That makes me worried. But
Chiefs are going to win 41-20. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, right?
I'm torn, though, because I wouldn't mind seeing history, but I'm just tired of the Chiefs winning.
I said it earlier in the podcast. I think the Eagles have the most complete team out of anybody in the NFL. Now, the Lions would have had something to say about that if their defense was healthy, but they weren't. So in the playoffs, I think this has been the most complete team. So, and then who's your MVP? Just name the MVP and move on. Real quick. Jim. Hurts?
Saquon Barkley.
Barkley? I'm with Barkley as well. Just because
they're not going to give it to a running back.
Just because they won't give it to Jalen Carter. That's the only reason. And then is there any fantasy fallout from this? Probably not, right?
There's an ACL injury, something that's going to go into next season. That's the only
okay
potential.
Yeah, I didn't think there was going to be too much fallout either. I think Kelsey comes back, so there's nothing there. And everyone else is kind of already under contract for the most part that matters. So going into the Super Bowl, there is a running back, however, who hopefully he's the starter. I don't even know anymore because of Kareem Hunt, but Isiah Pacheco, he's going to be our player profile. I tried to make as good of a segue as I could. Sorry. 7th round pick in 2022. Last year, he was very good for the Chiefs. This year, he was hurt and then never really got started. I don't know how else to say it for this past year. And kind of been replaced by Kareem Hunt even as he's been healthy. So we'll see what happens with him. What I wanted to talk about more was what are your thoughts about him moving forward? We could talk about his past. I love him because one of my favorite players in the NFL of all time is Marshawn Lynch because of how he ran, and he reminds me a lot. Isiah Pacheco reminds me a lot of him because he's just like, come get me, I will run you over. And that's kind of how he runs, which I love. So, Jim, what do you think about the future with Isiah Pacheco? Is there one?
I think no. In the short term, because I think the writing's on the wall, right? Like using him. There is a deep running back class coming in. And maybe he's still having some lingering effects of the injury, and that's fine. But me, I follow data, I follow statistics, and the reality is he's a 7th round pick. He's replaceable. That offense, he's ground and pound, but I mean, that offense I think does, and you kind of start to see the trend of they want to get back to that high flying offense that was so effective for years with Tyreek Hill, and they got Xavier Worthy, and when they had Kareem Hunt, he was a 3-down back and kept the ball in the backfield, and I'm speculating here, but there's a lot of backs coming out that have 3-down capabilities that can get the ball in the backfield. And Chiefs had that pick 32. Why wouldn't you spend on any of the running backs that are coming out? Like that's a weak spot for them. I have not been someone that's been high on Pacheco because of all that. Like, I follow draft capital. I want guys that are drafted first, second, third round because, A, they're special for a reason. There's a reason why he went in the 7th round. He's definitely overachieved, but he's replaceable. And I think you're seeing that is what's going to happen in the offseason.
Jeremy, what about you? What do you think?
I stand firm on where I stand on Pacheco. I haven't been a Pacheco fan the minute he broke his fibia. Like, to play off some of Jim's points, so yes, the draft stock needs replaceable 100%. The running back by committee situation is already a scary aspect, and when you had Kareem Hunt come in, tear it up, it only made it worse for him. They do have some depth. I mean, if we can recall the fantasy darlings that were at the beginning of the preseason, the Carson Steels, everybody was paying an arm and a leg for the secondary and tertiary running backs of the Chiefs because they were showing potential. So even what they got right now has a chance of doing that. The fibia is not an Achilles, but the fibia is a serious bone and a leg injury for a running back that stomps the ground with every ounce of strength that he has. I think he's going to lose a step. I think he has slightly lost a step. And I think the running back committee in Kansas City is going to ultimately outweigh everything.
All right. Well, I'm on the minority then in this podcast because I think he's still semi-hurt and came back a little early. They were trying to put him in because he is their guy. When he's healthy.
The reality, though, Mickey, is you look at his best season was last year. He was RB15. Like, that's replaceable. Like, he's someone that might. Before this year, he had some of that artificial dynasty value that we always talk about, like in name cachet. He has some hype, but like RB15, he's replaceable. There's nothing special about him.
Not run the way he does.
He's on the Chiefs, and he filled a massive hole on a competitive offensive power team. So he's a very attractive piece, but I think he's prettier than what's underneath.
All right. Well, we shall see next year. Like I said, I think he's still feeling the fibia a little bit. So give him the offseason. We'll see what happens. But moving on, because we don't have too much time left, we definitely wanted to talk about this NFL mock draft idea. So as long as you both can see my screen, we're going to go through this quickly. I went through, I think it was 14 different mock drafts. Took the average of where most of these players were being mock draft, and we're going to talk about what we think about their positioning. Okay. So number one, the Titans are the first pick in the majority of their mock drafts. They have taken Cam Ward. What are your thoughts here? Do you think that's the right move? What's the for fantasy is what we're talking about now. So
I'll say yes, just for the fact that he's going to start right away. He's got Calvin Ridley. He's got a nice receiver. Chicken Quanko is not bad. They have some decent running backs, but his value will come from that he starts every game, and they're going to be bad. So he's going to be throwing the ball a lot.
Okay. Jeremy, anything on Cam Ward to the Titans?
I think I'd want Cam Ward to go somewhere better. I think the Titans are still a lot more pieces away. I don't like that wide receiving room. I think he's going to have a hard time developing. Will Levis is not a good quarterback. Mason Rudolph is not a good quarterback. We know this, but they don't have the best weapons. I'd like to see the Titans kind of focus up a little bit more on other things, and Cam Ward fall to a little bit more fantasy relevant team.
Yeah, and my whole thing is the offensive line's a joke. So good thing he could run a little bit because he's going to have to.
I really want to see him go to the Giants, man. I think that's going to be a nice fit.
We're going to get there.
Number two, I vote Raiders.
He won't go that far down. Again, this is the mocks, who knows what's actually going to happen. But for the second pick in the draft, I saw Travis Hunter a lot for the Browns. Now, is this going to be a fantasy relevant player or not? We don't know. We're going to say he is for the sake of this conversation. Jeremy, what do you think about Travis Hunter to the Browns?
I feel bad for Travis Hunter if he goes to the Browns. I feel bad for anybody going to the Browns this season going into it because God knows what they are. I still stand firm on what I said a few weeks ago. I think Travis Hunter should go to the Titans. But if Travis Hunter goes to the Browns, man, I think his relevance, you're hoping for IDP only because I don't think offensively he does much.
Yeah, me personally, I think he fits perfectly with the number 4 team in the Patriots. Can help Drake May along on offense, and they need another cornerback on the other side of the ball. But that's my hope, my wish spot for him. But for the Browns, they kind of already have 2 cornerbacks. I don't really know why they would draft Travis Hunter because from everything I hear, he's probably going to be playing both sides. But we'll see. Jim, anything on Travis Hunter?
No, I mean, it's a team that has. Well, I mean, who knows if Deshaun Watson's even going to play? But if he does, he's terrible. Winston's a free agent, so you don't know who the quarterback would be, and they love to run the ball. So
Watson's not playing. Watson tore his Achilles.
Yeah, no, I'm saying that's what I was saying. Like, I'd be shocked if he plays. You don't know who the quarterback is there. They want to run the ball, so I honestly, Shedeur Sanders makes so much more sense there, but that's a different conversation. But yeah,
I agree.
I'd be out on Travis Hunter if he went there at that spot.
Well, you've talked about the Giants. You've talked about Shedeur Sanders. How about Shedeur Sanders at the Giants, Jim?
I mean, good. I mean, he's pro ready. I mean, he's accurate. He hits the pace. Like he's got his receiver. I like Tracy, but I think they still need more offensive line help. They need more RB help. So I mean, they could easily. It's great to have Shedeur, but also I would want to know what their second round pick is to really complete that offense and build around them because they don't really have a wide receiver too. Then question mark, and I think that would be crazy as well. So I give him.
All right, so Jimmy's cutting in and out a little bit there. So for me, Shedeur Sanders to the Giants is absolutely perfect for one player, Malik Neighbors. Shedeur's a good thrower of the ball. I don't know how many times he'll be able to throw with the offensive line they have, but when he throws the ball and it goes to Malik Neighbors, it will be much more accurate than it has been his rookie year. That's how I feel about this one. Jeremy, any thoughts?
Oh yeah, just real quick. I think the Giants or the Raiders are the 2 hot spots for a team to land a quarterback in regards to like best fit. So I mean, I think whoever lands in the Giants and the Raiders, I guess what I'm trying to say, would have the best landing spot out of the teams that are looking for quarterbacks. So yeah, Sanders there would be really nice.
Nice. So we're going to go back and forth here for the rest of them. Those are the top 3 picks. I wanted to get a little bit more talk on them. And Jim, you cut out a little bit, so I apologize to interrupt you there. But number 6, Teteroa McMillan, the wide receiver from Arizona to the Raiders at number 6.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love that spot because you have Bowers who takes a lot of targets, and plus, once again, who's the quarterback? So that's where I think like the Jamar Chases of the world and Justin Jefferson is because they've been tied to a really good quarterback. That's how they they go from that wide receiver 2 to the wide receiver 1 range. And, that spot, I don't love the quarterback situation. So I think his ceiling would be much lower at the start of his career.
Yeah, real quick, I 100% agree with you. I would love him to be a Panther. I don't know if he's going to fall to number 8. Not saying that Bryce Young is that unbelievable quarterback, but let's find out because Ted's going to be open. Let's put it that way. Because when he's covered, he's open. Is how he's been in college, at least. So, Jeremy, what about Ashton Genty to the Cowboys? Like everybody has been talking about.
I mean, everyone is talking about that. I mean, let's roll. I think. I mean, that's a piece of that team that could use some help. But I think the Cowboys are a few more pieces away.
What's the better landing spot? Is it going to be Cleveland or is it going to be Dallas? And I'm not saying Cleveland's going to take a run in the first round, but early day 2 running back to go to Cleveland or Genty at 12? Take Dallas.
Genty.
Because everyone's talking about Dallas having the running back, but I mean, you can make the argument Cleveland might be a better spot.
Yeah, but it's Genty versus anybody else. I'll take Genty.
Yeah, I'm taking Genty to Dallas, man. That'd be fun.
All day. Especially Dak's going to play beginning of the year, from what I understand, right?
Yeah, Dak's fine.
Yeah. So Dak to Lamb, and then you have so they can't load the box. And hopefully they fix the second receiver.
And their defense is set. Like they got Diggs, they got Parsons still. They're not that bad.
I'm saying,
but also
they're not going to be able to load the box on the run.
But they also have CD Lamb. They like their tight end. Like they're a team that also throw the ball, and like, you know, I'd be curious whoever, because Bing is probably going to draft someone too. I'd be just like a year in review, like, you know, who finished higher in the RB rankings in per year, because like I could see Cleveland having more opportunities. Is my point.
I see that, and their offensive line's probably a little bit better, but Genty's talent versus anybody else in this draft with the offense that the Cowboys have when Dak is healthy, I'll take Genty all day, every day.
I just think it's. I don't want to say cockiness, but I think it's wasted if he goes to say Cleveland. I think Brock Bowers is a fantastic talent, and he's going to be a great fantasy asset. And he played really well last year, but I think Brock Bowers would have been a lot more attractive to us fantasy folk and the rookie crushes if he went somewhere better. I think Janty going to Cleveland would be the same exact thing. I think that loses his value. I think that loses some interest in him overall, and it doesn't make that much of a splash that everybody in the fantasy community wants.
Well, and that's my point. Is like trying to find value, right? You're trying to pivot. Like everyone's predicting this, but there are other really nice spots. It's just not Dallas and everyone else, you know.
Yeah, no, I keep saying I'm really excited for the running back who goes to the Patriots. Because they need one. Ramondre Stevenson had a rough year.
But they also just signed him to the extension.
Yeah, well, they signed him to the extension the 1 or 2 weeks that he actually played well, and then so much for that. Moving on, we got Tyler Warren to the Colts. I saw that a lot as well. I was kind of surprised by that, but I hope he gets the pick before 13 because Johnny Smith isn't young, and the Dolphins would be a lot of fun with Warren. But we're talking
I like the Colts one, man. I like the Colts one.
For Warren?
Yeah, I do like the Colts one. Who do they have? They got blocking tight ends. They haven't had a single tight end that was a legitimate pass catching since Dallas freaking Clark.
Mo Alley Cox.
Yeah, but at the same time, you need Anthony Richardson to complete more than like 10 passes a game. That's the problem. Like he's either got to be ultra efficient, or Richardson's going to have to be much more get the ball out quicker, get more completions, which is what he struggles with right now, and that's what really hinder his value.
Where else did you have him go? Miami? Okay, so Miami.
I like the Miami
situation.
Call. Yeah.
See, I don't like the Miami call because you have zero longevity. You can't argue the quarterback situation for the Colts as you do the Dolphins, because Tua's one tackle away from being a vegetable, and you have just as many offensive weapons plus a stronger running game in Miami than you do in Indianapolis. I think the opportunities are even less there.
But Tyreek Hill sounds like he might be leaving, and Tua has proven he's a quarterback. Anthony Richardson has not.
I just don't know. And Tyreek Hill is coming back. It was like 3 days after he had his little spout.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He had a little temper tantrum and then moved on. He's probably ass just chapped because the Chiefs keep making the Super Bowl.
I was all excited because I have Waddle.
Oh, no. Sorry, not to rain your parade.
Oh, good. So, Warren to the Colts. Buccaneers, Luther Burden. We got Colson Loveland. No. And the Steelers, Emeka Egbuka.
Yeah, the Steelers really need a receiver, too. I don't love the Luther Burden because I think that's what they're a guy that went off at the end of the year, the rookie. The promo pick. Yeah, I think that doesn't need to go there. But I love like Luther Burden because the Burden to Steelers or something like that, because it needs something that's very different than a Pickens, and I think Burden would fit better with the Steelers. I love the Emeka Egbuka as well.
Burden there. Yeah, I love Burden here in Pittsburgh. As a fan and also as a fantasy owner, for sure. Colson Loveland to the Broncos, I think that's kind of inevitable unless someone takes him earlier.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't go there, he's going to the Chargers. We already it's one of those two spots, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree.
And then Emeka Egbuka, I love Burden, but if Burden's gone, this is the perfect guy because he has no problem being the number 2. He's been the number 2 the last 2 years at Ohio State. And also, he blocks really well, which is something they really look for in Pittsburgh.
And his name's not Rome Wilson.
Well,
Yeah.
Roman Wilson wasn't healthy. He blocks really well too as a wide receiver. So we'll see what happens there. But those were the last three guys that I saw consistently in the same spot. So what we got? Nine players. So we'll see what happens. But sounds like everyone has to leave here. So we're going to head out. For Jimmy and Jeremy, I'm Mickey. This has been Dynasty for the Mountaintops. Make sure you listen to us on YouTube, Apple, or Podbean. Check us out on social at on the X, Instagram, and Blue Sky, all at Dynasty Mountaintops, Dynasty MT Tops. And then our email also for any feedback or comments you want to make and topics you want to hear. We definitely want to get that. Is dynastymttops@gmail.com. So again, for Jeremy and Jimmy, who had to come in and get out real quick, we will talk to you later. I'm Mickey, and this has been Dynasty from the Mountaintops. Have a good night.
Thanks.